Hi, Courtney here to talk to you today about how simple living got us to phase one of early retirement. And so I want to talk about that with you and ask you that if this is the kind of content that you like, please like and subscribe. And I appreciate you being here. So I'm so grateful. To me, it's called simple living or voluntary simplicity. But honestly, that's just the old terminology for what we think of as minimalism now. And I have always been a frugal minimalist. And I really started to realize this through the podcast that I did and going to Camp Fi. Like, I just think differently than the majority of people. And that for me, minimalism, voluntary simplicity, simple living is a core value more than it's just about money. I'm very big on waste and doing what is right. I mentioned this in several videos. There's the Native American belief that, and I also feel like it is a Christian belief and probably other religions too, that we take care of what we have, that we are not wasteful, that we leave the planet better than we had it. So even at its core, the reason I make my decisions are not necessarily money driven, but they have economic impact. And so yesterday, I pulled the trigger on phase one of early retirement. I've been planning to retire at 55 since I was 30, but really did not know how to get there. All I knew to do was to try to be out of debt and to save as much as I could, but I didn't really know how to save it, and I wasn't able to in my previous marriage because of some problems that were there that I don't feel like I can discuss. However, after I got divorced, I was able to save even on less than a third of the income I had before. I was able to get debt free, and I met someone and we worked together to develop plans and strategies. And it's basically all of the pillars of financial independence. We lived below our means. We saved half of our income. We had to earn more. We cut expenses. We couldn't have lived on each of our incomes. Well, I was living on the income that I had and saving, but not as aggressively as when two people become a family, right? But I was doing that, and I'm quite sure I would be in a much better position than I was 10 years ago. I might not be able to retire, but I know I'd be in a much better position. So these are the things we did, and this is what it's gonna look like. Yesterday, I gave my notice that I would be leaving by Christmas. Right now, I'm only on the schedule till Thanksgiving, and it is September. It's mid-September, and my husband will be leaving his day job in April. So that is about 8 months away, and for me, it's just about 3.5 months. And so we have made it clear that we are leaving. We'll be working on our roofing business, which is flexible. We will, once again in our life, which we've never had as a couple, flexibility where we can schedule our time on our terms. We also have an Airbnb that will keep running, and the roofing business, which will allow us to work 20 hours a week or less most of the time. Sometimes we won't have to do much work at all. Sometimes it might be 20 hours a month. Sometimes it might be 100 hours a month, but at any rate, we'll have so much more flexibility. We won't be commuting and driving an 8 to 5 or whatever each day. That is because of minimalism and simple living. If we didn't have these things, we would not have been able to make these calls. And this is what got us to, for me, early retirement, and for my husband, early in the sense that he's not full retirement age. So we have no debt, including we paid off our mortgage. Now, while we are in a higher income now, we have not always been. It has only been in the last 4 to 6 years that our income is above the median average. And we were below the median average when we met. The median average where we live in our zip code is $54,000. We are around $100,000. This year probably more. Some years it's a little less. So prior to that, we were around the median income for our area. So we have bought used cars. Our cars are used. They are paid for. They are well kept. We built less house than we could afford. We've always made sure that our house payment was less than 25%, and we paid it off early. We're content. For me, my habits are very cheap. My husband is a little different, but I'll explain. I like to read, hike, exercise, clean, cook. I enjoy being frugal and trying to find ways to save money, whether it's pouring over our bills or finding alternative ways to do things that cut waste and improve efficiency. I also love doing things like restyling my house with what I have, or giving myself a little budget to do things. So I enjoy movies. We love to go to matinees. It's only $11 for 2 people to go to a matinee at the nicest movie theater around. We love to go to lunch tacos. We have no problem going out for lunch rather than dinner. I love just cleaning up and selling my clothes and getting new clothes at the resale boutique. And so I say boutique because it's not Goodwill, but it's not a thrift store, but it's like a higher level, so where you can get name brand, oftentimes quality clothes. Like for a long time, I had a bunch of pairs of jeans. I only have one now because I lost some weight. I had like 3 pairs of these $200 jeans that I paid like $40 for at the resale shop. And I loved those jeans. Fortunately, I lost weight, but they don't fit me anymore. So it is through all of those things. And what kind of made me have this realization is, life is short. I lost a loving friend of ours. I lost a patient of mine or participant of mine, and he lived to his fullest till his last days. The other thing is just realizing from Camp 5 that no matter what, it's not like I'm gonna retire and become a spendthrift. Is that the right word? I'm not gonna go crazy and start wanting for things that I haven't wanted for before. And the fact of realizing that we have saved enough money, that we have been able to put back enough to buy us time until my husband's Social Security kicks in. And I just can't see a world. It could happen. Things can always happen. You don't ever want to get arrogant, but our roofing business has made good money for about 6 years now. More than that, but it's made enough to support us for the past 6 years. And so I feel like we are definitely to a point where we can trust that it's going to make enough, because we only have our utilities, taxes, food, gas, insurance, those kinds of things. Even though those have gone up substantially, it doesn't take that much for us to live anymore. And I would rather have my quality of life back. My parents are getting older and I want to spend time with them. My kids are getting older. I realized also this week that my son, I have 3 boys and 3 girls between us. My son probably will not be able to come home for Thanksgiving. This would be the first Thanksgiving in 26 years I haven't spent with my child. And so that's really hard. And I want to make sure that I can take advantage of all the time I can to spend with my kids and to spend with my parents. So big things are coming. I am looking forward to seeing what the future brings. My only commitment is to not commit to any kind of work outside our current business that we have, our home businesses. That means no going anywhere for work, no going to a job and clocking in and getting paid by anyone else for at least a year. If in a year from now, I'm giving myself 1 year, I feel like I need to go back to work or I need to work, I will. I'm also think I'm going to take a break. I don't know if I'm going to take a break from public speaking, but I'm going to be very careful. One of the commitments you make when you get a publishing deal with a book is that, and I have a publishing contract that has 3 more years on it. I also just renewed my yoga therapy certification. Is that you will promote the book. And I have 3 more years on my contract. So I did a podcast today. I've done quite a few podcasts lately. I've honestly lost count. I love doing some of them, some of them not so much. But I love doing them and I really enjoy talking to people. The one I did today was fabulous. Check it out on Spa Girl Wellness. I'll link it below. The audio was a little off because I had to use my phone, but I thought it was good. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you. And I want to say, I'm not an overnight success. This took 10 years of diligent planning. And sometimes I felt like I was stagnant. I never felt like I was going backwards, but I often felt like I was stagnant. And it just kept diligent, not getting on the hedonic treadmill, finding what makes you happy and sticking with that. Like, I'm driving a 9-year-old car right now and I'm happy with it. So I hope this is helpful for you. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.